Bluff City Media presents Tigers Live with Francis Carlota. Join Francis after every Memphis Tiger game as he breaks down each matchup, player of the game, and upcoming games. Now, let's get to the show.
Let's go, y'all. What's going on? It's Francis Carlota here for the host of Tigers Live presented by the Bluff City Collective. Let's go, y'all. Finally, Memphis gets off the schneid, breaks the 4-game losing streak, and beats Wichita State 65-63 off of a David Jones mid-range jumper. Oh, baby, what a win. I mean, you don't need me to tell you how badly Memphis needed this win. They needed this win like a fish needs water. Like we need air to breathe. Oh my goodness, y'all. What a win. What a comeback. Memphis was down by 14 points late in this second half, and they come all the way back to take the victory. What a game. We'll have a complete reaction, complete recap, talk about player of the game. I'll be joined later in the show by Roman Cleary. He is live at the FedEx Forum, so you got to give him a moment to get to his spot to find a quiet place and what I'm sure is a pretty ruckus FedEx Forum. So give him a moment. Once he joins this stream, I'll add him to the show and we'll react, get his full thoughts from Roman Cleary, the beat writer for Bluff City Media, covering the Tigers. After Roman goes off to Penny Hardaway's postgame press conference, we'll go to a commercial break, and I'll be joined by Parish Sharkey. Y'all know him, man. He's a beast. He's an awesome guy, covers the Memphis Grizzlies for Bluff City Media. We're going to talk Tigers, talk about this game, what it means going forward. So we'll get into it all soon. I mean, let's already start up with these comments. Shout out to I Know Diggs, always rocking with the show. Heart attack. I ain't going to spell that all out, but we all know what it reads. Heart attack. I mean, I don't think any of us can afford a heart attack right now, but that's what this game gave all of us. Shout out to Maria Knows Best as well. We won with the hands with the U emoji, praise emoji. Yeah, this is huge. There's this massive win. We needed this bad. I'm with you. I know, Diggs. We needed this so bad. I mean, while we wait for Roman to join the stream, I'll just go through a quick recap. I mean, that first half was just about as anemic an offense as we've seen from the Memphis Tigers. It was the same scripts. I said this on Twitter, the exact same script from the Memphis Tigers. Just a lot of poor offense, no shot making, and the defense was good. Credit the defense for showing up. But that first half was just, man, tough basketball, tough to watch, tough to see JQ struggle. But that second half started off similar, obviously got down by 14, and thankfully they found a way to get back into this game and get a much-needed win. I do see I am joined by Roman Cleary now, so let me go ahead and add him to the stage. Roman, what's good?
I just watched quite a thriller. Obviously, Memphis's losing streak comes to an end, which I'm sure you're very happy about. David Jones with a huge shot there. Great play called by Penny. Great comeback overall, really, by the Tigers. And their at-large hopes are going to now live for at least one more day, which is good for the U of M, obviously.
That's right. They live to see another day. Any hopes of that at-large bid are still surviving. It's scary, though, whenever you come into games where, I mean, we're used to this as people who have covered the Tigers and followed them for years. We're used to watching games in February where if you lose, you're on the other side of the bubble. And if you win, you can survive and breathe for like another day.
Well, in this situation, Memphis is already on the wrong side of the bubble. They may be off the bubble entirely if they were to lose this one, but that didn't happen. So
absolutely. Good. So let's talk about the game, Roman. Give me your initial reactions. I was talking about the first half a bit, how anemic they looked on offense, how they couldn't throw a basketball into the ocean if they were standing on a beach. What did you see from them the first half that gave you concern?
Well, I mean, offensively, they were very erratic, very turnover prone. They were pretty even with Wichita State for the most part, but the big difference there was the turnovers. Memphis had 9 in the first half compared to just 1 for the Shockers. And Wichita State, lo and behold, they ended up scoring 6 points off of those turnovers, and they led by 6 at the half. So those points off turnovers were literally the difference in the first half there. Javon Quinterly's offensive output was dearly missed for both the first and second half. JQ was pretty horrible besides that last shot. They gave Memphis the lead, like I want to say a minute or so left. I mean, 0 for his first 12 and no points in general. Besides that's just not what we've come to expect from Quinterly. He's had a pretty rough stretch of games because he was like 4 of 15 from the field against UAB and 3 of 11 from the field against Rice. But to miss your first 12 shots of the game for a guy like Javon Quinterly, who's averaging 14 points a game and one of the better point guards in college basketball, it's just pretty weird to see him struggle like that. I think his production particularly made the offense look much worse than it otherwise was. David Jones was pretty consistent throughout the day. It was pretty rough overall in the first half. Pretty rough.
Yeah, I can't agree with you anymore, Roman. As I know, Dick said JQ was bad for 37 minutes. And he was good for those 10 seconds in that possession.
More like 37, 38 minutes. 39 mingive He didn't
Absolutely.
make a shot until the final minute of the game.
Yeah, and when we get to the second half, I'll give JQ some flowers as the leader of that comeback, and we'll get into that later. But no, there's no sugarcoating how bad he was. I mean, there was a moment he got downhill, got to the rim, and just blew a wide open layup, and that immediately told me that something's wrong. Like there's something
that's the one that he
off.
never does, regardless of what's happening.
No,
like he never misses the drive-by layup. That's just not his thing. He's
not his thing.
He's like almost 100% on that.
Yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous. So it was clear that his struggles were paramount and a massive reason why the offense was struggling in the first half as well. And another thing to talk about is as Mikhail, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name, Mikhail Yakar says Penny need to shorten rotations. So Roman, I would love your thoughts, man, because I'm sure you've wrote about it. You've gone to the press conferences, you've heard the comments from Penny. How are you feeling about these rotations? They seem erratic. They seem to not have a real purpose besides offense-defense switches. But what are your thoughts?
I mean, Penny, for basically his entire tenure, has had this penchant for wanting to play everybody on the roster for some godforsaken reason. At the end of the day, some dudes just aren't meant to play that often. And Penny Hardaway, as good as he is and as good of a basketball mind as he is, just doesn't seem to quite grasp that. Or if he does, he just ignores it because there's no reason why you should be making a substitution like Carl Sharonfont in for Jaquan Walton right after Jaquan Walton cut it to a 1-point game with a 3-pointer and was having one of his better games of the season. I mean, these are games where your season is essentially on the line and you have to win them. These are the moments where you need your high-paying NIL guys and your veterans in general to be on the floor as much as possible. This isn't the time to try out Jonathan Pierre and Carl Sharonfont and Ashton Hardaway and Jaden Hardaway for that matter. You have to stick with your best guys generally in college basketball, but particularly in these moments is where it's ultra important. So, yeah, the rotation's got to be tightened up, and I imagine they will be because Penn typically does do that as late as possible more often than not. Did it in 2022, did it last year as well. So I suspect he'll end up finally doing it again at some point here in the coming weeks. But it's pretty frustrating overall for a Memphis fan, I imagine, to see guys that shouldn't be on the floor as often as they are.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other issue is what I know Diggs brought up as well. We'll have a flow, and then he'll just make those substitutions. And
brought that up with Walton. And you also are now seeing these lineups the past 2 games where there's not even a point guard on the floor. And Memphis hadn't been doing that at all for the entire season, literally at all. I don't remember him having one lineup for the first 17 or so games of the season without a point guard. And now we've seen it 2 games in a row. He started that lineup with Jonathan Pierre against Rice, and he put it back in for a pretty significant portion of, I want to say, the second half there for a minute. And I know that Walton's supposed to be like the de facto facilitator there, but he's just not that guy. You got to have either Young or Quinterly on the floor at all times. And so, yeah, that's also pretty wild if we're talking about the rotations.
Yeah, and there was after the under 16-minute media timeout in the second half, the lineup that was trotted out was Carl Sharonfont, Jaden Hardaway, David Jones, Jaquan Walton, and Naquan Tomlin. What in the world is that lineup? Like, I don't understand what that is. I don't understand what the thought process is. The offensive thought process, I don't get it. It doesn't.
There's no true center or no true point guard. No center or point guard.
Yeah,
just
and
wings.
Memphis got lucky because after the under 16 timeout, Jaden hit a fadeaway three in the corner and got bailed out of a horrible offensive possession where no one at all was able to get the ball downhill, break a defender down, get 2 feet in the paint. There was no flow or cohesion, and we just got bailed out by a Jaden Hardaway, what looked like a fadeaway three in the right corner, and just got absolutely bailed out there. I mean, the rotations are really weird. As you said, that there just doesn't really seem to be any flow. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason. As I know Dick said, Creighton goes 7 deep, Houston 7-8 deep. So I got 7 deep. And as you said, Roman, I agree with you that I think Penny will start to shorten the rotation as we get deeper into February and closer to March. I think we'll get to that point. But
he just waits too long to do it. He
does. He waits too long. And I said this in the show post game after Rice. It almost feels like to me that Penny looks at the opposition and thinks, I can experiment. I can try different lineups out and see what works and try and find a flow instead of sticking to what works, instead of trying to just stick to lineups, get consistency, get cohesion on the floor. I think he wants to do a little bit. He wants to experiment too much to me. So that's kind of my thought.
It's February 2nd. Now is not the time for experimenting. All due respect, now is not the time for experimenting at all.
Absolutely. As Sean Day said, Caleb Mills was the other point guard, and I've talked at length about how the loss of Caleb Mills has really hampered this offense.
I'll say he was more like the other primary ball handler. I think that's a better fit. I think that's a better terminology than just another point guard. But yeah, Caleb Mills was definitely the secondary primary ball handler. He was his team's best perimeter defender, vocal leader, emotional guy. I mean, we've talked about his absence and what it means at length. And the ball handling aspect is just another thing Memphis is missing with him out of the lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. I've said this so many times, and I'll keep saying it until I turn blue, because I think it'll be an issue that'll plague Memphis throughout the rest of the season. No matter if they make a deep run in the NCAA tournament, or if we're talking about the Tigers in the NIT, this will be an issue for the Tigers, is a lack of playmaking, a lack of ball handlers, and a lack of guys who can get downhill and draw to defenders when attacking the rim. David Jones has a tendency to either take a bad pull-up jump shot or try and throw his body into a defender and try and create contact, and that just turns out to be a bad shot sometimes as well. And JQ, if he's not able to get downhill and break defenders down and attack the rim, then you really, really have that from anybody else. Like, Caleb Mills was supposed to be another type of guy like that, but when he's not there, it's just the offense is limited. That's just an issue. Let's see here. So, as exactly. As I'm looking at the comments here, y'all are talking about that Jaden 3. I know Dick's saying it looked good to me. I mean, it went in. It went in, so of course it looked good if it goes in.
It wasn't a good shot selection. It wasn't. No. It was heavily contested.
Not at all.
Basically, at the very last inch of the left corner there, or no, it was the right corner. Excuse me. I watched the court from like the other end, so it's
right.
But yeah, basically the final inch of the right corner, kind of fading away. It's not a great shot selection, but it went in, and ultimately it proved to be a difference as Memphis won this game by 2.
Yeah,
hats off to Jaden for that shot, I suppose.
That's true.
Missed the game against Rice with a hand injury, by the way. I don't think we mentioned that in Wednesday's show, but he was out against Rice and he returned today. So Yeah, and perhaps he would have been the one starting in that goofy lineup instead of Jonathan Pierre if
Maybe.
he'd been able to play. Who knows?
I mean, knowing Penny and how much he loves to play Jaden, it probably would have been. it probably would have been. Bring up a comment from Sean Day here too. I think a lot of our woes are understated and point guard related. If JQ plays to his normal season averages, we win the last 4 games too. JQ has really fallen off. I get what you're saying, Sean. The problems with Javon Quinterly are real. He has struggled over the past 4 games, and including today as well. He had mighty struggles. And if he plays at the level we know he can play, then Memphis probably doesn't lose those games. I get that. I totally get that. But also, it goes to what I've talked about before. The margin for error with this team is so small because there's so much burden on Javon Quinterly's shoulders as a lead point guard, as the lead ball handler. So if he has a bad game, which he's been having over the past 5 games up to this point, there's not really anybody else who can replicate what Javon Quinterly brings to the fore. So that's where I'm coming from with those issues.
Oh, yep. I see Penny Hardaway making his way to the press room, so I have to go, but I will see you Thursday after Temple, Francis.
All right, man. See ya.
All right, bye-bye.
Peace. All right, y'all. So as y'all saw, Roman Cleary has to go to the Penny Hardaway press conference, and that's a good time for us to take our first commercial break. On the other side, I will be joined by Parish Sharkey. So look, y'all don't want to miss that. You know how great of a dude he is. So I'll see you on the other side.
This is one of the stranger stories that have happened during Penny Hardaway's time at Memphis, which has been marred by some pretty crazy things going on. But this might be at the top of the list.
Let me first say I am glad to hear that he's gotten over his sickness.
Mm-hmm. Whatever it was made him lose some daggum weight. I'll tell you that.
He looks a little more in shape, brother. I can't lie.
Let me get that, bro.
This went from, reports of the team not being so open to the idea to in a week, hey, he's on the team. I want to know who voted no and who voted yes and how many are on each side. From my experience, it just sort of feels like you had a lot of no votes, maybe a couple of yeses, but the coaches still made the decision for the team ultimately.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Basketball at times has turned into very selfish, individual, statistical, let me get mine regardless of a win or loss, especially at the collegiate level when guys are trying to make it to the next level or professionally. It's not necessarily all about coming in and winning games and championships and playing together and guys being willing to sacrifice. You get more guys that want to go out there and score points and make flashy plays for themselves personally than you do get teams that just want to win basketball games.
Well, and I think the transfer portal has kind of accentuated that, right?
Oh, 100%. You come in and you got 13 new guys every year. It's going to be difficult to.
It's almost like you got 13 mercenaries, right? That are representing a team that the majority of the fan base would live and die for.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Tiger Nation, I'm happy to help announce the launch of Bluff City Collective as the official collective of Memphis basketball. The Bluff City Collective was founded with the sole purpose of helping Memphis basketball continue its long and storied tradition of excellence. The Bluff City Collective will help ensure, as we move further into the new era of college athletics, that we continue to recruit with the best programs in the country. Basketball in Memphis is special. A huge part of what makes it so special is you, Tiger Nation. As a former player and now coach who was born and raised in this city, I know that better than anyone. Without your unwavering support, we would not be where we are today. That is why I'm asking all of you to join me in supporting the Bluff City Collective. The city's team needs you. I need you. Please go to bluffcitycollective.com to make a donation or become a member today. The time is now. We are not satisfied with just being good. We want to be great. Let's bring a national championship to Memphis. Go Tigers, go.
All right, y'all. So, look, if you don't have tickets already, if you want to get tickets to the rally at the Rendezvous, go to bluffcitycollective.com. It is today at 3:30 p.m. at the Rendezvous. Look, I don't know off the top of my head if tickets are still available, but if they are, y'all got to go get these tickets. It'll have a meet and greet with players and coaches, signed autographs, pictures with players and coaches, question and answer as well with the team and the coaches. And don't forget, your ticket also gets you food and drink as well at the Rendezvous. So show up, show out, go support Bluff City Collective and support the NIL movement at the University of Memphis. And I'm sure after this win, it'll hopefully be a more lively rally at the Rendezvous. But we are joined by Parish Sharkey. What's going on, man? Welcome to the show. How are you, bro?
Hey, what's good, man? Appreciate you having me on. I'm doing good. You're definitely doing good now after that.
Yeah.
Come back.
Definitely doing good now, man. Absolutely. Well, first let's just get into it, man. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the game. I talked about the first half a little bit and how much they struggled. I mean, they ended the first half down by 6, and again, all hope wasn't lost at that point. But it just felt like the same old. Parish, what did you see from Memphis in the first half that was just super concerning for you? And did you think that they can make this comeback in the second?
I thought they could make the comeback, and mainly because the Rice game, they were struggling like that, and they made the comeback. It was just a fact: are they going to actually pull off the win after making the comeback? And obviously, they pulled it off. But first half, I'm not gonna lie, I was walking, so I took a walk around Shelby Farms Park, and I was like watching on the phone.
Right.
So I didn't really get to see directly exactly what happened, but just kept kind of tuning in. They just wasn't shooting well. And I couldn't test to see what type of shots they were taking. Like I said, cause trying to walk and pay attention to the park and look at the phone at the same time. It's kind of tough, but yeah, just glancing down, it's like they weren't shooting well, because it's like their defense got better. I say this: they held Wichita State to 35% shooting throughout the entire game. So you could tell, like, defensively, which had been their Achilles heel most of the season, they were doing better with that in the first. After the first 2 minutes, whenever Wichita State took their 11-3 lead, after that the defense got better, and the rest of the half they held them to they scored 30, so 19 points for the last 15 minutes. That's really good. So really just felt like their offense was struggling mightily. And considering defense has been a problem this season, that was, to me, I kind of felt a little good about them going to halftime. Like, okay, get back to your typical offensive performance, and then you probably could end up pulling the win out.
Yeah, I think those are all really good points. I mean, we'll just break them down. Let's talk offense first, because offensively, I agree with you. I saw people on Twitter and the Discord really getting on the offense again and again. I'm not saying it's not deserved. I'm not saying that at all. Like, they still couldn't score at all. They still took some bad shots, and the flow wasn't always perfect. But I do think, at least from my set of eyes, I thought the offense looked better than it had in the past, especially over the past 4 games, because there was actual movement, there was actual off-ball cuts. When Wichita State went to a zone, Memphis did a good job of getting the ball in the middle of the zone. They would have Jourdain at the free throw line. They did a good job of getting him the ball and cutting off of him and moving off of Jourdain and finding open space. And it led to some good looks. It didn't lead to buckets. It didn't lead to actual points, but it led to good looks. And you saw, watching the game, everyone watching the game saw the shot quality score. Like the CBS, they tried to do their, out of the box thing or whatever their thing for the game was. So they did the analytics, they showed extra stuff, and they showed the shot quality. And Memphis's shot quality score was better than. Did I freeze? Oh, sorry about that if I froze.
Okay, I know it was me or you.
It's probably me. Sorry about that, y'all. But as I was saying, Memphis' shot quality was decent. I actually thought their looks were solid, and they actually ran decent sets, but they just weren't scoring. They just weren't getting the ball to actually go into the hoop. And defensively, as you said too, Parish, I thought defense looked good. When you hold a team, no matter if it's Wichita State or whoever, you hold a team to 30 points in the first half, then you can't tell me the defense was bad. You can't. Like that, the defense was good. And I want to acknowledge what I know Dick said in the chat. We aren't turning teams more how they get into a groove offensively. I agree with that whole. Memphis likes to run. They like to create chaos and get easy buckets. In terms of, he says we aren't a half-court team, and they're not a half-court team. They haven't been a half-court team under Penny Hardaway. But I think they tried things today, and they did a better job of executing sets in the half-court that led to better looks. They just couldn't capitalize. But on defensive side, I still applauded them for the effort. I wasn't alone in saying this. I think Parth for the Daily Memphian said this. Munn's also at the Commercial Appeal. We were all in agreement that the Tigers are playing with real effort. It's just not paying off so far. But they were playing with effort, diving for loose balls, crashing the offensive glass, getting rebounds. I mean, Parish, Memphis won the rebounding battle 45-33. Like, that's effort. Rebounding is effort. Yeah. And they really played hard today. And I'm just glad that I'm not on this show talking about effort and how they played hard and saying they still lost. Like, I'm happy
right.
to say that they were able to make that comeback. So let's get into the second half. Early on in the second half, it didn't look good. They went down by 14. They were really struggling. The lineups looked weird. I talked to Rowan about the lineups. Parish, I want to get your thoughts as well. How are you feeling about these rotations from Penny Hardaway?
Where's this Penny? Is this Penny's fifth year or sixth? That's his fifth.
Sixth year.
This is sixth.
Now, this is his sixth year. He's been here for 5.
This is sixth. Ain't nothing changed since year 1. Like, his rotations, he's always playing 11. Then I counted like 12 people. Like, what you doing, man? But it's February now. It's like, because we was talking about this on Same Show. Even that year, not last year, but the first year they went to the tournament when they played Gonzaga. Remember the whole Money Bates thing, and he was out for a while. Yeah. And they brought him back in. He got in the tournament game. Like, Penny still played like 11 people in their first game against Boise State. So it's like, this is him. So it's kind of hard to keep complaining about it. So I'm gonna start taking high road on him and his rotations. Man, like you froze again.
I'm back. Yep. Sorry. Go ahead. What were you saying? I apologize.
Yeah, I would say I'm taking the high road on him and his rotations. Because he's still doing it. It's like, our one I command say LBR. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. He's been showing it for this is 6 years now. Ain't nothing for you to complain about no more. It is what it is.
I know. It is what it is. You just hope, all as we can do, just covering the team. We can just hope that Penny can actually time the rotations, have some rhyme or reason to them. Like, I just can't. I'm going to say the lineup again. Carl Sharon-Font, Jaden Hardaway, David Jones, Jaquan Wallen, and Naquan Tomlin. What is that lineup? That makes no sense. I get that Dandridge, he looked exhausted at times on the floor today. I thought he played so hard. He fought on the glass. He really played with a lot of effort and intensity. But boy, he looked exhausted sometimes. And I get why he sat for a lot of the end of the second half, because he just looked gassed. And Tomlin played big minutes, and the guys stepped up. So they did. So credit to them. But dang, I mean, the rotations are definitely questionable. And so Memphis got down. They got down by 14 points after the under 8-minute media timeout. Yeah. And then as you hear Clark Kellogg say on the broadcast, this isn't about X's and O's anymore. They got to figure something. They just got to fight. They got to play hard. And that's a sentiment that I always share whenever the Tigers are struggling. Like, screw the X's and O's. Just play hard. Just show some pride. And I think that's what a lot of us have been looking for from the Tigers. Play with some pride. Play for some pride for Memphis, for the Tigers, for the university. And, especially after the UAB game, we didn't see any pride when the when UAB got to a big lead. So at least they showed some pride and made the comeback. How did you feel about Javon Quinerly's play today? I know he didn't score until the end. I totally get that. But big picture wise, how did you feel about his game, and how are you feeling about what I said earlier on the show, that too much of the burden is on his shoulders, and that's just the problem the Tigers have to live with?
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, but Caleb Mills being gone is big, and I like what Roman said. Point guard, just another ball handler, because he's not necessarily a true point guard, but like just another ball handler that can take some pressure, release some pressure off of Javon Quinerly. But overall, his performance today was, I mean, it was mostly bad, but at least it was bad from shooting standpoint, right? But he ended the game, I think, with 8 assists, 6 rebounds. He still was like making plays in other areas, right? And that's what you want to see. Your shot, you're going to struggle sometimes, right? Your shot is not going to always fall, but can you still play through it and still have the guts to take that big shot? And I tweeted out the shot. I was like, oh no. Then the Kool-Aid man jumping in, oh yeah, like when he took the shot, he like 0 for 11. We like, hold on, what you doing? Oh, okay, no man. He always make clutch shots though. So it's like
that's right.
Still was a big shot taker in that moment, and he made it. So it's like, hey, all's forgiven. Y'all found the way to win in the 4-game losing streak. Hey, I have no complaints the rest of today.
That's right. That's right. As Sean Day said, he is missing wide open layups and threes. It's the yips. And I saw your comment earlier, Sean, and I apologize for not getting it up earlier when you mentioned the yips before. I'm with that. I think that makes a lot of sense. You know, I don't know if you, Parish, I don't know if you watched Ted Lasso or not. I don't know how many of y'all watched Ted Lasso.
But yeah, I've heard of
it. But they have a scene where they don't say the yips. They don't say the Y word, because it's every athlete for the history of time, for the history of mankind, have gotten the yips. No matter how talented, no matter how experienced, like you watch Tiger Woods in his comeback, he couldn't hit like a 10-yard chip shot to save his life because he got the yips. Like everyone gets them. And I think JQ definitely had the yips today. Like he struggled before, but today it's just something looked off with his shot. And I feel like I really don't want to rag on him too much, but when he shoots, it's like he's trying so hard to jump and get into the air when he shoots, and he's releasing it at like the very top of his shot, and he made the 3 at the end. I was like, credit to him, clutch shot. But I still feel there's something up with him mentally, that throughout a game he's just not right. He's just not there. But this is what quality players do. Parish, you know this. I know this. They still keep shooting. They still keep playing. They still keep playing hard. And I appreciate you mentioning his assists and his rebounds. Let me just go through JQ's stat line. 3 points, that massive 3 at the end, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. And look, y'all, 1 turnover.
Yep, only 1 turnover.
1 turnover. I mean, he's a point guard. Like we were on him over the past few games with his turnovers. He would have 6, he'd have 4, he'd have 5. And Memphis would definitely struggle with team turnovers as a whole, and JQ was a big reason for those struggles. And today, Memphis still had a lot of turnovers. Memphis still had 12, which is not well. Look, I mean, as I say that 12, they were on track for like another 18 turnover game, honestly. So even as I say 12, that's right. Even as I say 12, it's not nearly as bad as I thought. And JQ only having 1 turnover is a big reason why that Memphis was able to limit the total turnovers. JQ, he couldn't score, but I think he had a decent game. And I do want to also harp on people honk outside. I do want to. They're excited about the win, I guess. I want to harp on how after the under 8-minute media timeout, he did a much better job as a playmaker. He would find Nick Jourdain diving to the rim. He had a really nice 2-man game with Jourdain. And then he would find I think he found Tomlin on like a full court pass. Like because Wichita State went to sleep after I think it was after a bucket from them. They just went to sleep. And JQ found Tomlin streaking down the court. And he did a much better job as a playmaker, as a dribble penetrator who could draw two defenders and make the right read. That's all I want from Javon Quinterly, is to make the right read. I don't need him to score 20 points a game. We got David Jones for that. I just want JQ to make the right read. So I'm glad to see him play well, at least in that regard, and get a big shot. So let me ask you, Parish, what would be your? Let's talk about it. Who would be your player of the game for this one? Give me your player of the game.
I mean, got to be none other than who hit the game with the shot, David Jones. I mean,
yeah,
I would say I would give a special acknowledgement to Tomlin, Naquan Tomlin. That first half, the game, you know how we feel behind 14 in the second half. That could have been the first half, and Naquan Tomlin made 3 big buckets in a row to keep Memphis within striking distance. Then David Jones hit that 3 to get them within 2. That stretch right there kept them, because that first half could have gotten away from us, and we could very well have been in a 20-point hole. But due to that, it kept us in it in the first half to be within striking distance at halftime. So, but obviously, second half, I think David Jones finished with 26. I think he scored 16 in the second half, if I'm not mistaken, or something along those lines. That's just big time player. Like, when we need the baskets, he knew who to get the ball to, and he delivered every time.
Yeah, it's got to be David Jones for me too. I'm with you, man. He was just so good in the second half, but after the Tigers were down by 14. I'm trying to look at the play-by-play and see how many points in a row did David Jones score. So let me really quickly. He gets a 3, he gets a layup, so that's 5. Makes a free throw, that's 6. Makes a 3, that's 9. Hits 2 free throws, that's 11. So he scores 11 straight points for the Memphis Tigers to help claw them back into the game. And the only time someone broke that streak was Javon Quinterly's 3.
The 3.
Like that was the only guy who broke the streak from David Jones. Because otherwise he was the David Jones we've seen the whole season. Like when he gets hot, when he's feeling it, I mean, there's very few better than him in all of college basketball as a scorer. Like when he gets hot, when he gets going, it's a sight to see. It's incredibly impressive. And you know, love your Naquan shout as well. He played 32 minutes today, 10 points, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 6 rebounds. And you know, he had good minutes, 32 minutes. And he played a lot of the game. He played hard. He got some good defensive stops. He got some needed rebounds as well. So you know, that's a good shout for at least a nice honorable mention. But yeah, player of the game, it's definitely David Jones. It's definitely David Jones. He was something special, 100%. As Maria knows best said, Jones went crazy. Yeah, absolutely. He went absolutely bonkers. And shout out to 3 the Hardaway. Much love to all of y'all. A win is a win. Like that's what it is. A win is a win. And what's that Al Davis quote? Just win, baby. Just win, baby. Just win.
Just win, baby.
That's right. Just win, baby. That's it.
Especially all the time. After losing 4 in a row, then it's like I tweeted. I was like, "Dang, Memphis, the NIT is questionable at this point." They're about 14. Because that's all like you have to lose back-to-back home games to teams with losing record. Like you out the tournament, any tournament almost at that point. So much needed. You need to find a way to win that. There was no question about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I guess looking forward, Parish, how are you feeling about the Tigers' chances? I know it's not looking great right now. They are currently on. They're either like last 4 in or first 4 out, depending on what bracketologist you follow, you look at. This was a needed win, but let's be real. It's Wichita State at home, a Wichita State team that still has a losing record, has been struggling. I think they're now 1-7 in the AAC. So this is not some glamorous win for the resume at all. This is just the win that the Tigers needed. Like, hell, we'll probably check the net, and they're probably going to fall because based on the net rankings and everything, Memphis should have blown them out, and that's not at all what happened. So are you feeling any better, or are you still nervous?
Split. I think this game, and I was talking about this on Same Show a couple weeks ago. Since that Virginia game, Memphis has played, including how they lost the 4 games. They've been playing like this since that game. Basically, they barely remember. Vanderbilt had a buzzer beating shot that would have beat us. They missed it. We escaped that one. We had to hit a game winner against Tulsa to escape that one. We had to hit a game. We had to beat UTSA in overtime at home. That would have been a losing record, a losing team with losing record home loss. So you survived them, then you finally crack and lose to some of those teams. So it's like at some point that was going to happen. It was just a matter of when, not if. I was just hoping that it didn't look like the Philadelphia Eagles, because I was thinking about their season in football. They started the season like 10-1, but they were winning a lot of comeback close games against lesser competition, and then they finally cracked and finished the season losing 5-6. So Memphis kind of did that, but they got a lot more season left. So my confidence in them is, and listen to Jason and John on 99 ESPN this week, they were talking about Jermaine Johnson potentially coming back. It was announced that he is coming back, right? Defensively, he was basically he had to be that defensive coach, basically, to help their defense. If today was any indication, hopefully they can carry their defense the rest of the season. If they do that, the conference is still not a good conference. Let's keep it a book. They should be able to potentially win out. At very worst, only lose 1 of the 2 games against FAU and have a chance to win the conference tournament. They really should be firmly in the NCAA tournament, technically. But confidence-wise, it's about 50-50 because, you still have to come back and win. But sometimes it might take that. Sometimes it take you going this skid, and then you find a way to win the game. And maybe that can propel them. And just like 2 years ago with the stop asking me stupid effing questions, that was the turnaround. Right. Hopefully this game was the turnaround for it.
Yeah, I hope so too, man. I hope so too. I'm with you. I'm also 50-50. I don't feel any worse. I don't feel any better. I'm just glad they won a game. Like, that's all. I'm just glad they won a game. They needed one so badly. So I'm just glad I got a dub. That's a great mention, though, about Jermaine Johnson. And as we saw, again, defense today was not the problem. They locked down on defense. And, yeah, they didn't force a lot of turnovers, but they still did a much better job of rotations, of communicating, being locked in, not leaving dudes just wide the hell open. They did a much better job of locking down and being on the same page on the defensive side. If this is a sign of things to come on the defensive end, then I'd be more willing to bet on the Tigers only losing, like you said, 1 or 2 games, maybe against FAU, maybe against North Texas, at North Texas, maybe. Yeah. I'm more willing to bet on, who knows? Like maybe they drop one against a good team, but I'd be more comfortable with them going or the last 9, probably going like 7-2 in the last 9 games. Like I'll put money on that and be confident if this defense can show up like that.
Put them 12-6 because they're 5-4 now, so about 12-6. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know there are people who care a lot about the regular season conference standings. I don't care. Like I really don't care. I care about how they're playing, and I care about how they're playing entering the conference tournament. Because you don't get automatic bids for winning your regular season conference. No one really cares. No one cares. You get an automatic bid. Well, unless you're in the Ivy League, so apologies to the Ivy League. But unless you're, but otherwise,
I put this way: you care about it for seeding purposes, but at this point, that's thrown out the window with us now. Anyway,
right, exactly. You care about for seeding, but just start playing good basketball, entering the conference tournament, and make a run. And if you need to win the conference tournament to make the tournament, that's not a great position. But if they're playing good basketball, then at least there will be some confidence in them. Shout out to Sean Day here. I'm hoping for what happened to UConn last year, drop 4 games randomly mid-season, and make a hell of a tournament run. To call it a hell of a tournament run is probably a massive understatement, Sean. I mean, but I'm with you, man. I'm with you, Sean. I get it. It makes total sense to me. Let's hope that's the case. And, as you talked about the defense, that's offensively, as we talked about before, I think Memphis can grow from this performance. I think they can grow and take some confidence out of this offensive performance. Yes, they only scored 65 points. But as we talked about from the jump, really throughout this whole show, they got good looks. The shot quality was there. You contrast this offensive performance and the looks they got to the last 4 games where the offense, you just don't know what's happening. Like I didn't know what the plan was for those games. And at least here you saw a semblance of a plan. And I think this is something they can build on and start to get back into the mid 70s, low 80s as an offense. The 65 is not going to win you games. Scoring 65 points that's not going to do it on a daily basis. But I think that they can. I think they can get back to the 75s, low 80s. Sean asked, "How do y'all feel about the new assistant coach that returned? Impact on defense already?" Yeah, Sean, as Parish mentioned earlier, we think that he'll have a good impact on the defensive side of the ball, and hopefully it's a sign of things to come. Parish, we've talked about the defensive issues before. Do you mostly equate them to scheme, to personnel, or to effort? Like where did you stand on the defensive problems before?
I'd say it's a mixture of all three plus Caleb Mills' injury, all four, because the effort part of it, I've seen plays that UAB game, a big less than a minute in a two-lane game when David Jones lost his man. They had open three, and that was like at a critical point in the game. So it's an effort point in as well. Of course, Caleb Mills' injury, I think he was the best defender on the team, right? Best perimeter defender. Definitely. Personnel, you probably got the greatest defenders in personnel-wise. You got a bunch of offensive guys. Jaquan Walton, for example, is offensive-minded, but you need to try and bang on defense. And scheme-wise, because of your personnel, you're still trying to press or play man when maybe you need to go to zone sometime. Switch it up to help your team who may not be the greatest of defenders. So that's why I say it's always two things could be true thing. This case is four things could be true. So it's multiple reasons. All of it play a part into it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's all four things can be true. As I know Diggs said, they don't play hard until they're down big and realize, oh, word I can't say on air, we might be about to lose. And I think over the past 4 games before this, that sentiment, I know Diggs, I'm fully with it. Like they didn't have the effort until they were down by a lot and decided, all right, well, we now have to lock in. We actually have to listen to each other on defense and talk and communicate and be on the same page. And today, thankfully, as we've been discussing, I think that changed. I really think defensively, they look to be way more on the same page. There weren't these random open shooters left wide open for no reason. It happens. It happens sometimes, but on a consistent basis and for long stretches of the game, the defensive effort I think was there. And you look at the end, that shot from I think it was I'm forgetting the guy's first name, but Rogers for Wichita State.
They look something he stepped in and I know.
Yeah, Colby Rogers. Yeah, Colby Rogers. That shot he hit where Memphis played great defense. Man was right in his face, and he just steps in and just hits a leading mid-range jump shot on the corner. I mean, come on, man. Like that, man, it felt like the Rice game all over, where the Rice guy hit 2 threes when Memphis just got the lead again, and he hits back-to-back threes off of one of them was a bad defensive rotation. They did not fight over the screen. He got an open look. He made it. The second one, Nick Jourdain had a hand in his face. He was right there.
He was hot. Yep.
He was hot. And at that point, what can you do? That's right. Whenever dude makes a shot on you and you do all you can, you just got to shake his hand. Like, good shot. Yep. Like, all right, good shot. And so I thought that the shot today by the Wichita State guy, Colby Rogers, I thought that would have been the same thing. But credit to Penny out of the timeout. He drew up a good play to get David Jones going downhill. He got to the line, hit 2 clutch free throws. So that was big. I thought they responded well to what would have been a gut punch in the past 4 games. They were able to get it back. And shout out to JQ, like you said, Parish. That 3-pointer, cold. I mean, cold. Cold-blooded.
It takes some guts to take that when you shooting like 0 for 11, 0 for 12. Like to say, no, I'm making this. Like I like it.
Yeah, I like that too. And like we were saying before with Javon Quinterly, I'm glad. I'm actually glad that Penny kept him out there. There's a lot of talk in the Discord about, well, why is he still in this game if he's playing so badly? And my response to everybody was, who are you going to play? Who are you playing? Like it's a lesser of two evils at that point. Either you sit Javon Quinterly and you run out a no point guard lineup, or you put in Jalen Young, who doesn't really provide much on the offensive side, or you continue to ride your supposed star point guard that you got from the portal to lead this team. Those are your two options. So I guess I mentioned three. Those are your three options, and it's just which one is the lesser of two evils. And he's stuck with JQ. He rode him, and as USA Health, I think that's USA Health Insurance Reform. I think that's what that says. JQ dropping dimes, and he will get his stroke back. I agree. I think him being a playmaker allowed him to get back into the groove and the flow of the game. And as you saw, when he took that three, David Jones had a nice quick swing to the corner or to the wing to JQ, and JQ had no hesitation. Caught, got his feet set, rose, cash. I mean, it was what you could ask for. Go ahead.
I want to say shout out to David Jones passing the ball. I've seen him do that last couple games now.
That's right. Shout out to DJ passing the ball. Today he made some really good reads, and I've clamored for weeks. I just want David Jones to average 3 assists per game. Like that's literally all I'm asking for from David Jones. I will take 4. I'll take 4 assists per game. But right now he's only averaging 1.5. So I'm asking David Jones to double his season average. That's what I'm asking.
He had 3 today.
He had 3 today. That is progress. Absolutely. Look, Parish, I appreciate you so much for being on. I really thank you for coming on. Let everyone know where they can find you. I know you're doing awesome stuff for Let's Be Real Media, so let everyone know where they can find you, man.
Yep, of course, man. Appreciate you having me on. Of course, man. Bluff City Media brethren. We both came into Bluff City Media together, covering the Tigers, ironically, right?
Yes,
so,
I know.
Right, fun times. But y'all can follow me on Twitter at the1DAONE_P Shark. Also follow us at Let's Be Real Media, LBR_media. Everything I do for Bluff City Media, you'll find on my account. Also, BCM Grizzlies account. So the team be right for the Grizzlies. So every Grizzlies game, and still supporting Tigers, still keeping a watchful eye on them as well.
Absolutely, man. You're awesome. This is the first time I've actually talked to you. Right. We've obviously talked on Twitter for a couple of years now, but it's great to actually meet you, talk to you. You're awesome. I mean, you're someone I've followed for a while, and I appreciate you a ton. So, Parish, thank you for coming on, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you too, Prince.
All right, y'all. I will send this to a commercial break, and I'll see you on the other side.
This is one of the stranger stories that have happened during Penny Hardaway's time at Memphis, which has been marred by some pretty crazy things going on. But this might be at the top of the list.
Let me first say I am glad to hear that he's gotten over his sickness.
Whatever it was made him lose some daggum weight. I'll tell you that.
He looks a little more in shape, brother. I can't lie.
I mean, let me get that, bro.
This went from reports of the team not being so open to the idea to in a week, hey, he's on the team. I want to know who voted no and who voted yes and how many are on each side. From my experience, it just sort of feels like you had a lot of no votes, maybe a couple of yeses, but the coaches still made the decision for the team ultimately.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Basketball at times has turned into very selfish, individual, statistical, let me get mine regardless of a win or loss, especially at the collegiate level when guys are trying to make it to the next level or professionally. It's not necessarily all about coming in and winning games and championships and playing together and guys being willing to sacrifice. You get more guys that want to go out there and score points and make flashy plays for themselves personally than you do get teams that just want to win basketball games.
Well, and I think the transfer portal has kind of accentuated that, right?
Oh, 100%. You come in and you got 13 new guys every year. It's going to be difficult to.
It's almost like you got 13 mercenaries, right? That are representing a team that the majority of the fan base would live and die for.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Tiger Nation, I'm happy to help announce the launch of Bluff City Collective as the official collective of Memphis basketball. The Bluff City Collective was founded with the sole purpose of helping Memphis basketball continue its long and storied tradition of excellence. The Bluff City Collective will help ensure, as we move further into the new era of college athletics, that we continue to recruit with the best programs in the country. Basketball in Memphis is special. A huge part of what makes it so special is you, Tiger Nation. As a former player and now coach who was born and raised in this city, I know that better than anyone. Without your unwavering support, we would not be where we are today. That is why I'm asking all of you to join me in supporting the Bluff City Collective. The city's team needs you. I need you. Please go to bluffcitycollective.com to make a donation or become a member today. The time is now. We are not satisfied with just being good. We want to be great. Let's bring a national championship to Memphis. Go Tigers, go.
All right, so one more time, plug for the rally at the Rendezvous today. It starts in literally, I think, half an hour. So as soon as this finishes, if you have your tickets, or if you don't, maybe go to bluffcitycollective.com and try and get a ticket if there's one available. But if you do, right when this is over, or heck, I mean, if you want to go now, I don't blame you. You want to get there early, I get it, no worries at all. But show up to the rally at the Rendezvous today. In about 27 minutes, you get your ticket at bluffcitycollective.com. As I mentioned before, the ticket gets you free food and drink, meet and greet with players, with coaches. You can get pictures with them, and they'll have a Q&A session. And after that win today, y'all, I'm glad that there's going to be some high spirits and some positivity at this rally at the Rendezvous. Because could y'all imagine if the Tigers, after going down 14 in the second half, man, could you all imagine if they had this event and things were down? I don't even want to. And thankfully, we don't have to imagine it. We don't have to see that reality. They pulled out a massive win today. Really quick story for y'all, then we'll head on out. My dad is the biggest Tigers fan that I know. He's the reason why I became a Memphis Tigers fan. He's why I wanted to cover the team since I was a kid. And it's an absolute honor and a blessing to be able to do that. He is 87 years old, and he still watches every game, loves the Tigers. And he said after the game, unbelievable, Tigers need a big parade, rejoice. And I love you, Dad. I don't know if they need a parade, but I am glad that we can all rejoice and celebrate a much-needed victory. And as we briefly look ahead, their next game is Thursday, February 8th at Temple at 6 p.m. on ESPN2. Road game. Last year, if y'all remember, Memphis played Temple. Kendrick Davis hit that buzzer beater to give Memphis a much-needed victory at around similar time of the season. So hopefully it won't take another buzzer beater to win, but if it does, hey, a win is a win. Let's hope for the Tigers that can carry on this momentum, get another win streak going, and let's hopefully get officially and firmly on the right side of the bubble. But everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks to everybody in the comment section. Y'all are always fantastic. Thank you to everybody tuning in on YouTube, on Twitter at Bluff City Media. Thank you to the Bluff City Collective for presenting the show. And I'll see y'all after Temple. Peace, y'all.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Tigers Live. If you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of all things Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next time.